Hello, YouTube. This is the Galley La Podcast, and today we are going to be reviewing One Piece Manga Chapter 1132, Adventure in Elbaph. I'm Akainu Fanboy, the other guy is Geboss, and please like and subscribe if you have not. Leave your thoughts below on this chapter and our thoughts on our review. And we'll get started here. We have a cover story that doesn't matter, and then when we move on to the rest of the chapter, we see the rest of the crew coming into Elbaph right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I found it interesting that because we've seen Shanks be really shady in these past couple chapters. Like he destroyed Kid's ship, he destroyed Bartolomeo's ship. But it seems like he's like trying to hype up Luffy because he's telling the kid not to forget his name. So I thought that was interesting.
Totally. No, definitely. Yeah. We have Colin, I think, or
Colin, something like that.
Colin, I guess. Yeah. Okay.
It sounds better than Colin.
We'll call him Colin. So they're all pulling up, and then we see the rainbow, and for me, I kind of thought it was funny because like Bonnie's still on the crew right now. Which is like, and I kind of like forgot about that a little bit, you know?
It's
just like, yeah, she's still with them right now, you know?
Yeah. Honorary Straw Hat.
Seems that way.
She's taking over the cabin boy position that Momo was supposed to have. That people theorize.
Kind of look at that way.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I kind of thought it was interesting how they described the rainbow thing, because obviously science plays like a big theme in this story and things like that too. But at the same time, there's always a sense of like the mystical and the otherworldly stuff that goes on here too. That isn't excluded by science, you know? They kind of work one by one with one another. So I kind of thought it was interesting how, even though we just went through this whole arc with Vegapunk on Egghead Island, there's still mysterious stuff. We see this a lot with Elbaph, where it's like, oh, you know, that's just light shining into the sky, and that's it, you know?
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, wait, no, we can actually ride on this thing, you know? So the adventure, the otherworldly, and the magical is still a thing, you know?
Yeah, and that they can paint them, like they can use these devices. They kind of reminded me of the dials from Skypiea.
Yeah.
Like I'm getting kind of Skypiea vibes, especially because we're going up and the different levels of everything.
Yeah, a little different than the Saboti Archipelago, where they have the, you know, the bubbles over the ships and everything, and this is a little different here, you know? Just a different way to transport the ships, yeah.
Yeah.
So that was pretty cool.
Yeah. I think they had mentioned something about the painters, the devices that they used in the last chapter with Haruden, but that was like, what was that, like a month ago or something, or 2 weeks ago?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, it was a while.
Yeah. And I do kind of find it interesting just how Oda's able to maintain the spirit of adventure, even though they're all very, very powerful characters at this point. They still feel small enough in the grand scheme of things, where they're still in awe of nature and things like that too, you know, in adventure. So it's kind of what it feels like. They're so powerful, there's nothing that really interests them anymore sometimes, and the focus just becomes on their power levels. But Oda's still trying to maintain that feeling of adventure even this far in the story.
Exactly. Yeah, I really liked it too. I also liked the little brief interaction where Frankie says hi to Haruden because they helped each other out in Dressrosa. They still remember that. But yeah, I wonder, like, if this is kind of a technology that's unique to the Giants, and maybe because the Giants aren't allied with the world government at all, so maybe the world government would want this type of technology that they could use with like the rainbows and stuff. So it
would make transportation with the Grand Line a lot easier rather than the sea stone stuff on their ships, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, so I'm wondering if potentially, because I feel like we see a bunch of like wonder and stuff happen in this chapter, but eventually it's like, okay, I wonder at what point this is going to get flipped upside down, you know?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it was kind of funny to see Luffy's reaction to Loki's message too, like getting reminded of it, where he's actually like sweating and scared a little bit, which I thought was kind of cool.
Yeah,
and more hype up for Loki.
Yeah, well, I thought of it was like, we've seen that Luffy cannot lie very well, so I thought it was kind of funny. But
yeah, for sure.
But yeah, I'm glad that they kept it vague. Like they didn't tease it. Like just they cut to Luffy later. They didn't just cut out the conversation and cut back to Luffy, you know?
Yeah. So I thought that was kind of interesting. We see the weirdo giant come back, and Sanji and Zoro make a quick work at him, which is always good to see. And then his compatriots come in, you know, and they just beat him up a little bit too. So it's cool to just kind of like see the interactions come out right here and stuff. So I like it a lot. Yeah. So, and then they talk about the island clouds and things like that too. And then Luffy is able to get a vision of like what the, you know, of them being on the rainbow and stuff, and they think it's super cool. So I kind of like that a lot too.
Yeah. What I thought, so Luffy like runs on ahead to lead to the Elbaph village, and I thought that they might find it suspicious that he knows where it's at, because maybe Loki told him about it. So I don't know. I don't know if I'm reading too much into that, but yeah, it is cool. I like Gerd, how she likes the little people, but she differentiates herself from Rodo, who's just like this weird freak.
Yeah, exactly. This possessive guy.
Yeah, for sure.
So yeah, no, I thought that was all pretty cool and everything. Like I said, you see their reactions. You have the Osto play. Body's like super over the moon, happy about it. So I don't know, it's cool and cute stuff. I like it a lot.
Yeah, I like the thing with the panel with Usopp crying.
Yeah, no, that was great.
Yeah, but I don't know. I'm looking at the double page spread, and I will say that this is like my only critique about it. Like for a land of giants, like for me, it doesn't feel as big as it should be, you know? Because I feel like with other islands that we've gotten, it's felt a lot bigger in scale.
I get that,
you know. But I guess this is only like one village out of the
that's
whole
true.
thing.
That's true.
So, that would be my only thing. Plus, we kind of got this reveal with the miniaturized version of it with Rodo, like the Lego version. So,
yeah,
that would be my only complaint.
For sure. So I kind of thought that was interesting. And then when we get to this last panel right here, we start to get the narration from Luis Arnaut, the explorer. Which I kind of thought was interesting, I love it. I love like kind of the historical narration. It's not just the narrator, it's like other stuff too. So I like that, and it kind of just adds more lore to kind of like the Robin-esque characters or the Nolan type characters, where you have a written history out of things like that too. So I love that aspect of One Piece being brought back here. I feel like we haven't seen that stuff since maybe like Skypiea, maybe. The idea of like an exploration log and things like that.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to pronounce it Louis Arnott. I think he was the one. There was a book all the way back in Little Garden called Bragman that he was the author of. Like, they gave
Okay.
a narration with him as the author.
Oh, wow.
Of
Okay.
that too. So it's all relating back to that. So yeah,
Which makes sense because that's where we met Dory and Bragi too.
Exactly. But yeah, it's interesting. Like, do not overstay your welcome here. Like, it's ominous. And this is where I feel that Elbaph is really starting. Like, the past couple of chapters have been kind of just like a little introduction, and now we're starting full force. Like, I feel like back at the beginning of Wano, like all those years ago, when
yeah, right.
Yeah, it kind of had something like this.
Yeah, I just kind of feel like it's been better prepared than Wano so far, and it feels less cluttered, more focused and to the point, and more naturally flowing from previously established lore.
Yeah. Well, again, we always talk about Wano, but Wano just had so many things going on with it, so many plot lines that had to be tied up. This is more kind of a individual adventure, I feel, that isn't tied to so many plot lines like Wano was.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely.
Yeah. But yeah, speaking of the last couple panels, we get the little silhouette of the guy walking, who we saw that long time ago in the cover stories with Crocus. Just the silhouette. So I guess we're gonna find out who that is. So that's been a speculation amongst the fans for years about who that could be.
Jin.
Yeah, exactly. He made it. No, we already saw him at Pirate Island with Don Krieg and Pearl.
He's everywhere.
Yeah. He's like Panda Man.
I guess it could be Shiki. Yeah. I guess it kind of makes sense with the giantification thing for Strong World movie, you know?
I don't know, because Shiki... Well, the one thing is that Shiki has the distinct wheel on top of his head. That would be hard for the hat to cover.
One Piece is weird like that, though.
Yeah. But I feel like Shiki would be weird because he had a movie based around him. Like, so we already know that character. It would be a weird kind of retroactive thing. Like imagine if, like, it was Zephyr, who's this character is, where he had like a whole movie and story based around him that's like, it's not canon anymore, but we're bringing him into that. You see what I'm saying?
Well, I think Shiki is technically canon.
Yeah.
It's just, yeah, I get what you're saying, though.
Yeah. He definitely is canon, but
Zephyr canon?
Strong World is not canon, but Shiki, the character, is canon, because we saw him in the Rocks flashback.
Zephyr.
Oh, no. I don't know. He was on a cover panel. That's all I know, that we've seen him like drawn in the main series.
Yeah, so I think the fact that they brought him back in the Rocks flashback makes it more likely he'll come back into the story. It wasn't like a one-off thing that Sengoku just kind of referenced, around Marineford time.
Mm-hmm. I don't know. I feel like
we'll see.
Maybe. I would say it's unlikely to be Shiki, but I could see it being more like, the only other one that would make sense to me was like Scopper Gabon.
I would prefer that.
Yeah. Because then it'll relate back to like the Roger pirates and everything, but it'll be interesting to see how he plays into everything, especially if somehow he relates to like the guy with the guy marked by flames and the poneglyphs and everything, because I mean he would know everything with the that was at Laugh Tale too, so
right.
Yeah, I don't know. Although it is interesting that he's on Elbaph right now.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that was.
Yeah, I think
Yeah. I honestly didn't see the silhouette the first time I read the chapter.
I didn't either. No.
Yeah, I kind of glossed over it.
Yeah, and I'm wondering if Scupper being on here too long kind of fits in well with the quote, you know, from the Explorer and everything, and maybe he's lost or he's been trapped here in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
So, I think that's kind of an interesting thought right there, too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, maybe something, if you're like a regular human and stay on the island too long, you don't, something weird happens. And maybe that could explain.
And it might be something we see with Kid, too, potentially, you know?
Yeah. And maybe that could explain, like, Big Mom, why she's the way she is. Who knows?
Yeah, it's possible, yeah, for sure, yeah.
Yeah.
But, yeah, any closing thoughts? I thought it was a very good chapter, good adventure, good lore. I love the Explorer quote. Thought the art was good. Crew interactions were good. So no, I liked it all a lot.
I'm just waiting for everything to get flipped upside down. It's probably going to be caused by Luffy with the whole Loki promise.
Yeah.
But yeah, I feel like we should make a bingo sheet of our predictions for the arc. But
yeah, no, that sounds good.
Yeah, but yeah, those are my final thoughts. How about you?
Yeah, no. That's about it for me. So everyone, please like and subscribe if you have not. Leave a comment below your thoughts on the chapter and our thoughts on the review, and we will see you guys soon. Peace.
See ya.